What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P, back here once again. You already know what it is. When you see me in front of your TV, one thing is for certain and three things are for sure. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats, none of that static. Number three, and perhaps the most important number of them all, number three. Want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's very simple. I'm glad you asked. It's a three-step process, not in any particular order, but you must like, you must subscribe, you must share. Because sharing is indeed caring. And once you have shared this podcast with your family, your friends, your loved ones, your colleagues, your bosses, your uncles, your cousins, your aunties, your play cousins, your steps, your grands, all that, you have indeed cared about those people. What up, though? We've got some things that we've got to get into today. The Lions are off, so no practice before they lock horns with... You see what I did there? You see what I did? Lock horns with the Houston Texans. There are some things that we are going to get into about that situation. Okay, for sure. We're going to get into those things. Yesterday, there was an interview. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs sat down for the Pivot podcast with Ryan Clark, Fred Taylor, and Channing Crowder. The emotional content of this interview was very moving, I would say. I don't know what headspace you're in or whatever the case may be, but I would suggest going and watching. Not right now. Obviously, don't leave the show. Okay? Not right now. You go back and you watch it later. Okay. But I would suggest going and watching that because it shows these two football players on your team in a different light. You understand how phenomenal they are as a duo, as a tandem. You understand how phenomenal they are together. But individually, these are very complex beings who have overcome a lot of adversity. The crazy thing is that after listening to that interview, I went over to the Kay Adams interview and I listened to all of that stuff with Brad Holmes and Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Terrion Arnold. Brad Holmes said something very interesting because Kay Adams asked him about basically like what is the process that you use to evaluate, because it seems as though production isn't really all that important to you. What up, though, Mr. Morale 313? And one of the things that Brad Holmes said about the situation was, I think most likely one of the biggest determiners of the secret sauce, adversity. And it makes sense because I talk about Brad Holmes all the time with his adversity, the thing that he overcame. He sees that in all of these injured players. That's why he keeps signing them. That's why he keeps giving opportunity after opportunity to Marcus Davenport. That's why he keeps giving opportunity after opportunity to Emmanuel Mosley. That's why he keeps giving opportunity after opportunity to Ennis Rakestraw, and so on and so forth. But he said when they sit down with these guys and they interview them, obviously it's football, and what do you think about football, and do you eat it? Do you breathe it? Do you live it? Do you sleep it? Do you snort it? He didn't say snort. I just threw that one in there for emphasis, right? But the other thing was he said he wants to know what kind of adversity that they have gone through and what they did to overcome it. If you don't know, David Montgomery's sister had a horrific accident and she can no longer walk. Jahmyr Gibbs has dealt with loss, death, homelessness, all this stuff. So some of it is that. And some of it is just normal adversity. How do you handle it? Brad Holmes, as much as he sees himself in injured players, a big part of his process is adversity and overcoming adversity. I thought that was incredibly insightful. So, for those of you who are looking at mock drafts and all these other things, and it says, oh, this guy is going to go to the Detroit Lions. Well, you got to look into his past a little bit, dig into, see what kind of adversity he's gone through. And that might help you understand who Brad Holmes is going to be selecting in a particular draft. All right. So that was what that was. Also, there's something I don't understand that Jahmyr Gibbs said, because they asked him about sharing carries with David Montgomery, and Channing Crowder was like, but y'all have to look at, Saquon Barkley, and what did he get, like 370? He's like, what, you might be looking at it like 350. You give me 350, what can I do with 350? Jahmyr Gibbs said, oh, that's cool and everything, but I want to win a Super Bowl. I've never won a state championship or whatever on the championship on any level. So that's all I care about is winning. So whatever that looks like, if I have to get 100 less touches or 50 less touches, I don't care as long as we win. I don't understand why so many media outlets and papers and articles they're like, oh, the surprising, what does this one say? Jahmyr Gibbs' surprising take on sharing touches says a lot about the Lions' mindset. Why is it surprising? We already know the Lions' mindset. We already know that it is about the team, it's about the culture, it's about grit. Everything is about that. It's not about individual players. It's not about individual stats. No one has ever been in an interview and just lobbied for themselves. Nobody is sitting up asking, Amon-Ra St. Brown, what are his personal goals for the season? I want to be the greatest receiver ever. I want to have a 3,000 yard season, and I want to have 300 catches, and I want to. No, this has never been what this regime has been about. So I don't understand the surprise. Right? I don't understand the surprise at Jahmyr Gibbs giving a selfless answer about sharing carries and splitting the load with David Montgomery. I don't understand. But it seemed like it was par for the course for me. I didn't see that and go, ooh, I didn't know that. Ooh, that's surprising. Wow, what makes you say that? I don't know. It didn't occur to me to be surprised by it. All right. There's an article that has predicting when Lions will lose first game this season. It's Detroit Lions on SI, and the picture featured at the top of the article, of course, is Lamar Jackson, because that's the third game of the season. We got the Packers and the Bears week 1 and 2. No one is afraid of either one of those people. Okay, no one is afraid of either one of those teams. So, I'm terrified of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and everybody else. I'm not going to lie to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm quaking in my boots. All right. So let's get to this situation here. All right. All right, so as we said, we came here to talk about the joint practices. As you saw on the thumbnail, it's called Detroit Lions Back in the Joint. Not that joint, because I hope none of our Detroit Lions players go to that place, okay? A lot of y'all haters out there was hoping that J-Mo would go to that place. Not so fast, my friend. All right. It's an article from Detroit Lions on SI by Christian Boer. Y'all know about Detroit Lions on SI. Shout out to Doc Macaron. Try to get him back on the show soon. I kind of dropped the ball because I forgot I forgot to contact him after the Dolphins game. I know I was supposed to, but I forgot. So I reached out to him again yesterday. We'll talk about it. But hopefully it's sometime very soon. All right. See. Oh, that's not what I wanted. 1 second. Pull that back up. Chat a little bit light today. Where y'all at? What y'all talking about? All right. There we go. 5 matchups to watch in Lions-Texans joint practice. The Detroit Lions will have another opportunity to square off with an opponent in a practice setting on Thursday. After taking on the Miami Dolphins in a pair of joint practices last week, the Lions will welcome the Houston Texans to their Allen Park practice facility for 1 day of work prior to their Saturday preseason game. A playoff team a year ago, the Texans will be a good test for a Lions team that by many accounts dominated the Dolphins last week. Here are 5 matchups to watch when the Lions take on the Houston Texans in joint practices Thursday. And they're going to start up front. They're going to get right down to the nitty-gritty, and that's how we like it. So, Lions offensive tackle Penei Sewell versus Texans edge Will Anderson Jr. Now, if y'all have been following me for a while, y'all know I really wanted Will Anderson Jr. just like I really wanted Jared Verse, but I digress. Neither one of those things happened. And we have Marcus Davenport, so we're all good, right? Okay. All right, let's do it. I'm gonna see what y'all think. Does that mean that? Sacks are good. Sacks are good. I mean, we got a pretty good one here ourselves. That's what Brad Holmes said when Kay Adams asked if he was interested in Trey Hendrickson. Basically, he said no. All right. One of the most intriguing matchups will be a battle of former top picks who have had strong starts to their respective careers. Sewell has quickly emerged as one of the league's best tackles, while Anderson has been solid coming off the edge for the Texans. This matchup has legitimate star power and should be a good test for both players. Anderson is a long and rangy athletic defender, and Sewell is a sturdy and agile blocker. This should wind up being one of the best matchups between the two sides. So if you feel that Will Anderson is better than Kayvon Thibodeau, if you feel that Will Anderson is better than Hutch, then you're probably going to say Will Anderson is going to get the better of Penei Sewell more often than not. If you feel that Will Anderson is better than Kayvon Thibodeau, but not better than Hutch, then you probably feel as though Penei Sewell will win the matchup. The only thing that I know is that Penei Sewell is going back and forth with Hutch every day. Iron sharpens iron. They are getting the better of each other. Okay? Hutch is on a mission. I don't know if Will Anderson Jr. is on that same mission. I think the advantage will go to Lions offensive tackle Penei Sewell more often than not. Will Anderson, again, phenomenal player. And it doesn't even matter. If you're at the top of the food chain and you're going up against other alphas who are at the top of the food chain, you ain't going to get it 100% of the time, right? You might take an L or two here and there. All right, I'm drinking the void. Mm. Y'all know that's pretty cool, right? All right, the next one. Texans wide receivers Nico Collins and Christian Kirk versus Lions CBs DJ Reed and Terrion Arnold. The Lions secondary didn't see star wideout Tyreek Hill when they took on the Dolphins in joint practices, but should have a good test with the Texans wideouts coming to town. In particular, Collins is a big and physical wideout who will be a tough matchup for Reed and Arnold. There's plenty of optimism surrounding the Lions secondary in 2025, and matching up with Collins and Kirk should provide a good look at where they stand at the position. Depth is a concern at cornerback at this stage, and as a result, there will be pressure on the top two to succeed. Reed has been impressive throughout camp, and Arnold has been solid in his opportunities while battling injury. Plenty should be learned about both in their matchups with a pair of big-bodied wideouts. Okay, before I answer this question, or before I give my take on this, I want to check something. Okay. Let me just check. Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. Because Nico Collins, we know he's a big body wide receiver. When he said a pair of big body wide receivers, I was like, hold on, let me make sure. Because I didn't think that Christian Kirk was over 6 feet tall. I thought he was more of a slot type. He had, more of a slot body. He is indeed 5'11". In mock draftable, they have him 5'10". So big body wide receiver, he is not. So what my take was going to be, and I had to make sure that my take would be accurate. What up, though, Tactical Sport? I had to make sure my take would be accurate. I feel like if you see DJ Reed versus Christian Kirk, Nico Collins versus Terrion Arnold more often than not, then I would say that that's going to give you a glimpse into how they're going to attack receiver duos. Obviously, DJ Reed's a little bit shorter. Obviously, he's closer to the size of a Christian Kirk, while Terrion Arnold's a little bit bigger, and he is closer to the size of a Nico Collins. I look for them to match up that way. Last year when we had Carlton Davis, I think Carlton Davis is 6'2", right? Terrion Arnold is 6 foot. I just feel like it was whatever the matchup was. I don't know if they're going to look at the quickness and all these other things and go, well, let's match up DJ Reed on these shorter, stockier, quicker receivers, and we'll, put Terrion Arnold on the bigger, longer, rangier receivers. I'm not sure. So that is a thing that we have to keep a close eye on. How often is that the case, or is DJ Reed just going up against Nico Collins because DJ Reed is the number one corner? Okay. And they're both going to get opportunities to go up against Nico. Because obviously, again, iron sharpens iron, and Terrion Arnold is going to get that work because Terrion Arnold was matching up against number one receivers in his rookie season. Okay, it didn't matter who came his way. So, if we're thinking about it from the track record, now we don't have Aaron Glenn. We have Kelvin Shepherd. So it might be a little bit different the way that he looks at the secondary room, because Aaron Glenn, we know, he's a former cornerback in the NFL. So he might have just said, we're taking all comers. It doesn't matter. Okay? Whichever side you line up on, you're going to get one of these dogs. Right? You want to take Jay Jettas and you want to put him over where Terrion Arnold is? Well, Terrion Arnold got him. Right? You want to take who else? You want to put DK over where DJ Reed is? DJ Reed got him. That was the philosophy of Aaron Glenn. So we might see something a little bit different with Kelvin Shepherd, but that is yet to be seen. So I think this is going to give us a little bit of insight as to how they're going to deploy these guys this season. All right. Tactical Sport says just got out the gym. Today was pull day. Okay, I feel you. Tomorrow push day. Stay right, ain't gotta get right. That's right. I feel you. I have the same philosophy. That's why I be in the gym getting right. All right. Let's see. The next matchup. The next thing we should look at. We went from, before I go on with that, Christian Kirk, man, he's had some injuries. He did kind of flash. I forget where he was when he flashed, and then he went to Jacksonville, got a big payday. I think he had a foot injury, so he got released by Jacksonville, signed with the Texans. I think he was originally in Arizona. So he was originally in Arizona catching passes from Kyler Murray. And Christian Kirk is, all right, right? I don't think Christian Kirk is really like anything to write home about, you know? So I think the best matchup, the best work you're going to get over there in that matchup is when you're going against Nico Collins. Because Nico Collins is, he's shown himself to be in the upper tier of wide receivers in the NFL. Not top tier. I mean, he's no Jamar Chase. He's no, I was going to say Jordan Jefferson. He's no Justin Jefferson or Amon-Ra St. Brown or anything of that nature, even A.J. Brown. But, I mean, he's good. He's good. For sure he's good. He's very good. All right. So it's only right that we went from their offense against our defense. Now we're going to go from our offense against their defense. Lions wide receivers Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams versus Texans CB's Derek Stingley Jr. and Kamari Lassiter. Okay, I got something for this one, but we'll read what he had to say and then we will react to it. All right, on the flip side, the Lions wide receivers will also be tested. Stingley and Lassiter are both intriguing young cornerbacks, with Stingley recently cashing in on a new contract. Both will provide a strong matchup for Detroit's talented crop of wideouts. St. Brown and Williams bring plenty of star power, but the young cornerbacks on the other side should give them plenty of tests in both one-on-one and team drills throughout their joint practice. The secondary could make it tough sledding for Detroit's offense. Please line up Kamari Lassiter one-on-one against Jameson Williams. I promise you they're going deep. I promise you they're going deep. You lock him up man on man against Jameson Williams, I promise you they're going deep. Why do I say this? Remember, Kamari Lassiter ran a 4.6 40. If you don't get hands on J-Mo at the line with your 4.6 40 having ass, it's curtains. It's curtains. It's curtains. 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 Okay? You're done. You are done. I'm sorry. Okay? Now, I know J-Mo been in his bag this offseason with the routes and everything, and maybe that'll give Kamari Lassiter some way to cover him. Okay? But if you try to stretch that field and you put Kamari Lassiter out there by himself on that island, good luck to him. Good luck to him. Because it ain't going to be pretty. I just want to let you know that. It's going to be a bloodbath. Okay? Just like I'm saying, if you do that, if you line him up man on man, just like Amon-Ra St. Brown was cooking Jack Jones last week against the Miami Dolphins, same energy, same type of cookery happening if Kamari Lassiter is locked up without any help against Jameson Williams. Same type of cookery. That's it. Okay? All right. So if you're talking about a matchup that is going to offer you anything in that situation, I would say it's Derek Stingley versus the both of them. With Derek Stingley being, I think, the highest paid corner now, or maybe he's right after PS2. Him going against Amon-Ra St. Brown, him going against Jameson Williams is probably going to be the most evenly matched of the two cornerbacks going up against anybody. I don't think Kamari Lassiter can necessarily cover Jameson Williams or Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's just my opinion. Tactical Spork says, if he doesn't get hands on J-Mo, it's barbecue chicken alert. Exactly. Shout out to Shaq. Barbecue chicken alert. Good job, Spencer Rex. All right. If he doesn't, it is barbecue chicken alert. J-Mo can just, you know, when they have a barbecue chicken alert, I just want to see J-Mo just look at Jared Goff and go. That's the signal. Right? All right. Next is Texans quarterback CJ Stroud versus Lions safety Brian Branch. Stroud had a banner rookie season, then struggled to find his footing in what was an up and down second season. Now the oh hell no state product is hoping to get back into the upper echelon of quarterbacks in his third campaign. With the way the Lions play defense, Thursday's practice could turn into a game of cat and mouse between quarterback and safety during team drills. Branch does a number of things for Detroit's defense, and his presence could be key to the team's success in team sessions. Take another sip of the void. Hold on, before I go on, we got Joe Duke in the house. I believe he's a new subscriber. What up, though, Joe Duke? Oh, Texans fan? Okay, yes, he is a new subscriber. Joe Duke says, Texans fan here. We all doubted Lassiter last year, and he surprised us. Should be good competition. No, I agree with you. I just think if we're talking about running go routes, no chance, player, no chance. The only person that I'm in the NFL right now that I believe can stay with Jameson Williams, stride for stride, step for step on a go route. Oh, I'm talking about specifically goes, specifically nines, is your man Nate Wiggins. Right? I don't know what he's done in camp. I don't know what he is, how he's developing over there with the Baltimore Ravens. But I'm saying if you want to put him out there and you want to go stride for stride, step for step, that's the only one that I got. He's the only one that can do it. Kamari Lassiter cannot keep up with Jameson Williams. Now, if we're talking about the other routes in the route tree, we're talking about slant. Well, I mean, a slant, that only takes one step too. But if we're talking about hitches and curls, comebacks, we're talking about, you know, out routes. I mean, but anything that calls for separation, I don't know. You know, I don't know how crafty Lassiter is. I don't know how good he is with his hands, but, you know, that's my take. I used to play corner, so I got a little bit of information. All right, CJ Stroud. Since we got a Texans fan in here, what did you think about CJ Stroud's season from last year? Do you think it was the offensive line? Do you think it was play calling? What do you think is the reason that he seemingly regressed last year? Was it just the inevitable sophomore slump that rookies, when they stop being rookies and they go into their second year, they have this sophomore slump? Is it just a mythical wall, or were there some more sinister things at play? So let me know what you think about that. Okay, Brian Branch. Going to be all over the field, going to be baiting CJ Stroud, trying to get him to throw it his way when it looks like somebody's open and they're not actually open because he got him covered. So it's going to be really a chess match, like they said in the article, cat and mouse. I do believe that is going to be a good battle. Regardless of what I think about Ohio No State quarterbacks, I do have to say that CJ Stroud is probably the best one I've ever seen. Selfishly, because he went to Ohio No State, I was really happy that he did have a little bit of a regression last season, so I could be like, see, I told you quarterbacks from Ohio No State is trash. I mean, when you've seen 100 of them come out like one a year and they've all been trash, I've got a lot of history to go from, right? I got a large database to pull from. I'm not just talking. It's facts over feelings. So because it's facts over feelings, I did have to say that CJ Stroud, unfortunately, has been the best one I've ever seen. Tactical Sports says, okay, hold on. So Joe Duke says offensive line got him beat up. Tactical Sports says, but if it's a go route, they would have to put a safety over JMO, which means they would have to keep a safety over JMO. Yeah, I'm just talking about Kamari Lassiter. I'm talking about man-on-man coverage, no safety help, right? Remember, like Jeffrey Ohel Nokuda apparently just had man-on-man coverage against Justin Jefferson, no safety help over the top, even though he had safety help over the top the entire game. Remember that game? Yeah. So I want an actual situation where Kamari Lassiter has to try to cover Jameson Williams on a go route by himself with no help. As Ice Cube said back in the day, no Vaseline. If you know, you know. Use the hashtag. Joe Duke says, second most sacked QB in the league last year. You know who was the first most sacked? That other light-skinned dude from the DMV. Caleb Williams, a.k.a. Mr. Girlfriend. All right. But yes, it should be a good matchup between CJ Stroud and Brian Branch. I don't know if Kirby is going to be practicing. Kirby's been out a bit with that knee. That's right, Caleb. All right. The next guard, see, I'm going to throw some in here myself because there's 5, but I'm going to throw some more in here because there's one that we didn't see. And it's the one that all the Detroit Lions fans want to see, but I'll throw that in last. Lions offensive guard Tate Ratledge versus Texans defensive tackle Sheldon Rankins. Detroit's rookie offensive guard impressed the coaching staff with his showing against the Miami Dolphins in joint practices. Now Ratledge will have the chance to take yet another step forward with another opponent coming to town. Rankins will be a good opponent for him as he's a seasoned and savvy veteran who will have an array of moves to try and get off the rookie's blocks. The opportunity against Houston should be yet another developmental opportunity for a player that the Lions will count on heavily throughout the year. So anytime you can get a rookie reps in a controlled environment against a veteran, a savvy, wily veteran, it's going to be great for the rookie. It's going to be a great learning experience, great for his development. Oddly enough, and I say it's odd, it's not. While they're staying at the Lions facility and all these things, and they're the guests, and the Lions are being hospitable and all these things, there is talk amongst the players. There is opportunity to ask questions. Tate Ratledge can easily walk up to Sheldon Rankins and say, hey, what did you see here that I did that made you, do what you did? And then they'll have a nice little conversation about it. I personally, because I've never been in the NFL, obviously when we look at competition, He would be like, I ain't telling you nothing. Get out my face. But it doesn't really work like that in the NFL unless it's your own team. Like when it's a quarterback talking to a younger quarterback who was drafted to eventually replace them. That happens sometimes. And sometimes it happens with older players. Just you draft a younger player at that position and they're not willing to talk to them about anything. They're not willing to help them with anything. Because obviously if I help you, the faster, the more that I help you, the faster you take my job. So, I get it, but hopefully it'll be the opposite, and Tate Ratledge will be able to speak to Sheldon, especially if and when he gets beat, because he's a rookie and Sheldon's a vet. So he probably will get beat. I don't want to say a healthy amount of times, but if he does get beat, then he can go and ask Sheldon, hey, what did you see here? Let's see what we got. They can let Kirby rest until the season. This is true. We already know what we are getting from Kirby. Absolute dog. Absolute dog. Mr. Pickens. We could call him Slim Pickens. That is a great nickname for Kirby Joseph because he's slim and he picks stuff off, right? And then if we take the reverse of the situation, Slim Pick is when you're a quarterback and you throwing his way, it's going to be Slim Pickens. You're not going to be able to get too much. You're not going to eat. Slim Pickens. I'm running with that. Kirby Joseph. Slim Pickens. And anybody that has a line to Kirby on Twitter, because I know he's active on Twitter. I'm not active enough. I'm not around when he's on there talking. Slim Pickens, just let him know. Float the nickname to him. I told you I'm the nickname guy. Slim Pickens. Aaron's daddy. That's kind of a Detroit only one. That doesn't have the national appeal. But yeah, I like that. Hassan Mahdi says, hi, my friend. Salam alaikum. Alaikum salam. Good news. Ahmed's injury is not severe. Short time, inshallah. We'll see him on the field by mid-season. He is young with fresh body, with his strong well of recovery. Okay, all right. So good news. You heard it here first, I think. Ahmed Hassanin will be back mid-season. So you'll probably see him back around the same time Aleem McNeil will be back. So that's good news. That is good news. So we get depth piece back, and he doesn't lose his entire rookie season to injury, and he's able to get those developmental opportunities that he needs going into his second season. So shout out to you, Hassani and Mahdi. Appreciate the update. So we will be rooting for Ahmed to heal up quickly and have a quick recovery. All right. It's not even an honorable mention. I don't even know why it wasn't mentioned. The only reason I can say why it wasn't mentioned, because I don't know this guy's name. But Christian Boer probably knows his name. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. Boom, boom, boom. And all the problems are the same. Boom, boom, boom. You want to go where people know. Troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I'm talking about. Y'all already know what it is. Cheers. You know what I'm talking about. You know, cheers. Anyway, Aiden Hutchinson versus whoever. Okay? Whoever they want to throw out there at tackle. Aiden Hutchinson versus that guy. Since we want to talk about tandems and duos, This is not something I want to see because I don't want to see this man on the field. I get nervous whenever this man is on the field. That was my show. It was, hey, you know what I'm saying? Low key. Back in the day, Coach Ziali, low key. Okay. Not no more, but low key back in the day, low key. Okay. I don't want to see this man on the field. I get nervous whenever he's on the field, and I think he's going to get injured whenever he's on the field. But Marcus Davenport and Aiden Hutchinson versus whoever the left and right tackles are of the Houston Texans. So the Houston Texans offseason was puzzling to me because they got rid of Laramie Tunsil and they replaced him with who? Right? They had offensive line issues last year and they replaced these people with who? When they got to the draft, they didn't draft an offensive lineman in the first round. I don't know what happened. Okay? And yes, Joe Duke says Texans has nobody for them. Right. I don't know what they were doing. They were like, well, CJ Stroud had a down year. He got sacked a lot. Hey, let's draft a running back. I don't know. I remember watching the draft and saying, you know, the Texans have to take an offensive tackle here. And I think they traded their pick. I just know that they didn't do what they needed to do. If I was CJ Stroud, I'd be like, y'all got to be kidding me. Y'all got to be kidding me. I need to get, no. So, Aiden Hutchinson and Marcus Davenport will look to eat. I hope you only give Marcus Davenport a few spoonfuls and then you put him back in the wherever. Okay, in the rubber padded room, foam padded, whatever kind of padding you want to make sure he doesn't fall and injure himself. Because we'd like to get him to the season. I don't like Marcus Davenport being in joint practices. I don't like Marcus Davenport practicing at all. I don't like Marcus Davenport doing anything involving football other than standing at a safe distance watching. Okay, because you hope he can't get injured watching. But stranger things have happened. Better get as much out of Davenport before he gets hurt in game 2. If he plays game 2. Do y'all know, it's not funny because this is a man's career and livelihood. But it's just the irony of not even playing in game 2 because you got hurt in game 1 and then coming back in game 3 and then getting injured for the rest of the season. And whether you believe that there was a football play or it was an intentional situation, for some reason that intentional situation found its way to Marcus Davenport. That's when you know you're injury prone. When you're going to go up against a tackle who is going to karate chop your arm and rupture your what did he rupture? His triceps. That doesn't make sense. It's not funny, but Davenport isn't the type of player that I would bank the season on. No. But you're not Brad. So what I was saying, I don't know if you were still in the gym, Tactical. So I got some insight into Brad Holmes when I was watching the Kay Adams interview. The insight that I got into Brad Holmes is she was saying, well, you know, it doesn't seem that production is all that important to you in your process. So he talked about the interview process when you sit down with these guys. And he said, we want to know what kind of adversity that they've been through and what they've done to overcome it. How did they overcome that adversity? So it made me realize that not only is Brad Holmes seeing himself in every injured player, like Marcus Davenport, Emmanuel Mosley, Ennis Rakestraw, the list goes on. Not only is he seeing himself in those guys, he also sees himself in Jahmyr Gibbs because Jahmyr Gibbs went through a tremendous amount of adversity in his life. He also sees himself in David Montgomery because David Montgomery went through a tremendous amount of adversity in his life. David Montgomery's sister had a horrific accident and can no longer walk. She went from healthy and walking to not able to use her legs anymore. Okay? David Montgomery was stealing his what was his name? Matt Campbell at Iowa State. He was stealing his key, or not, his passcode to the gym so he could go in there after hours and on weekends and get better. Right? Because of what Brad Holmes went through with the accident, the car accident, having a stroke while he was recovering from the accident, having to learn how to walk again, talk, eat, all that stuff because he had a stroke, right? And then to get back onto the football field and play again was a tremendous accomplishment. It was a tremendous example of overcoming adversity. Because Brad Holmes went through this himself, that's why it's so important for him to sit down with someone and say, what kind of adversity have you overcome in your life? And I did not put those things together. I put the other thing together where he's just looking at the injured players, but it's always about adversity. And there's obviously varying levels of adversity. Okay, because if you look at someone like Amon-Ra St. Brown, I don't think he went through like traumatic adversity. You know what I mean? Like, we know his story, two-parent household, father was Mr. Olympia. Mother is a German woman who was like a school, I don't know if she's a school teacher, but she homeschooled them and taught them German and, all these things. So, his upbringing obviously was different than Jahmyr Gibbs, who was homeless, who, grandmother died and aunt died and all these things. You know what I'm saying? So there's different levels of it, but it's really important in their process when they're talking to these players. Altrante Ursi and Titus Howard is our who the fook is that guy? Altrante Ursi, right? Ursery. Titus Howard, I've heard of. Altrante Ursery, I'm guessing, is a rookie. Did they draft him? So basically what you're saying is that Hutch and Davenport are going to eat. Okay. So they're probably going to have to kind of tamp down team periods so they can give CJ Stroud an opportunity to throw the football, right? They're gonna have the Hutch and the Davenport rules. It's like, okay, y'all go have y'all fun. Y'all got y'all sacks. Touch him on the shoulder and get out the way and let him throw the football somewhere. He says exactly. Mega Hustle 313 says Davenport just needs to retire. If Davenport goes out there and gets hurt this season, it's malfeasance to allow him to continue to play football. So whoever it is in his inner circle needs to be like, look, bruh, I mean, we believe in you and everything. We believe in your ability, but dog, come on now. You gonna rehab again? Again? If he gets hurt again this season, it's no longer a meme. It is actually his body just tapping out. Like, his body is tapping out. It's like, I'm not doing this no more, bruh. I keep trying to tell you. Every year I try to tell your ass, but you're not listening to me. I don't want to play football no more. You know what I'm saying? That's what his body is saying to him. If he gets injured this season, it's a wrap, bro. It's a wrap. Just hang it up. Hang it all the way up. All right. So those are some things that I want to see. I don't think that it'll be a domination of the Texans. I don't think it'll be a complete dismantling of the Texans. I think the Texans are everywhere a better team than the Miami Dolphins. I don't see the Tua thing. So Tua is a person that I've never seen it. I never seen it. And coupled with the fact that he is injury prone like crazy and he doesn't know how to protect himself, right? He just doesn't know how. The first game back from all that major concussion that he had when he was, what do they call it? Fencing on the field. Okay. Because we saw this recently with Maurice Norris, right? So when you're seasoned up, they call it fencing. This is what happened to Tua in his last concussion. And immediately after he gets back, he throws an interception. And he's trying to make a tackle on the play and throws his head at the legs of the defender. Head first. I'm like, bro, what? What are you doing? So, again, the Tua thing, and we see how Tyreek is when he doesn't have Tua, he doesn't have a competent quarterback. Now, there's a team that you trade Hendon Hooker to. I'm just saying. Okay? Hooker to the Dolphins could work. It could work. But yeah, anyway, I just think the Texans are a better football team. What's his name? Ariante Ursary is your rookie tackle who's supposed to be protecting C.J. Stroud from the likes of Marcus Davenport and Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, stranger things have happened. Just remember that Aiden Hutchinson has made it a habit beating Penei Sewell. Penei Sewell has never been beat this much in his entire career. Not high school, not college, nowhere. Tactical Sports says Hooker to the Fins isn't a bad idea. Right. But he did get outplayed by Quinn Ewers. So Zach Wilson is Zach Wilson, bro. I mean, Zach Wilson just needs, I don't know. Does he have any eligibility left? Can he go back to school? He needs to go to the UFL, the CFL, somewhere, the AFL, Arena Football League. He needs to go somewhere. Because he just, he's not it. He's not it. Hendon Hooker might have looked better than Zach Wilson. I don't know. Hendon Hooker just looked bad. So you just trade him to the Fins and let them figure out. Because I don't want none of their quarterbacks in return. I don't want, again, Sam Darnold, heck of a kid, whatever. Not Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, heck of a kid, whatever. Possibly, I don't know. Deserves a second, third, fourth, fifth chance. Okay. It's not on my team. Just cut him and move on. Right? Because if you had to put in Zach Wilson, your season's over. Just like Hendon Hooker. You had to put him in, your season's over. So Hendon Hooker is proof that the NFL needs a farm system like the MLB. Yes, they need to convert the UFL into their official farm system. It's staring them in the face. It's staring at you right in the face. You ain't with it. It's 1,000,001 things that you could be doing instead of hanging around this mother and talking to shoeing. Get off your ass, let daddy, and go and get it. It's staring at you right in the face. You ain't with it. Shout out if you know, you know. Use the hashtag. Is arena football still a thing? I feel like it folded and then they brought it back. It's mostly now like the fan controlled football league, and stuff like that. I don't know if the Arena League is still a thing. I'll have to check. But I feel like I know it did come to an end. I think in like 2013 or something like that. But I can't 100% for sure say that that's the case. I don't know. But as I was saying, Texans are a better team than the Dolphins. So, I mean, but we did kind of eat their lunch last year. After throwing 5 interceptions and still coming back and winning. I don't know what that was about, but it was what it was. Jared Goff versus the demons of Jared Goff. That's one thing that we should look for, right? Jared Goff versus the demons of Jared Goff. It's time to exercise the demons. Okay. He's going to want to carve up the entire secondary of the Houston Texans because they did get the better of him the last time he faced them. Somehow lost, though. I don't know how. Yeah, we have a great team, tremendous. I don't know how we lost that. I mean, I don't know how we won that game. I'm not going to lie. Joe Duke says, bruh. We won. Don't know how. We did. But, so maybe the Houston Texans is going to look for some get back as well. I would, too. I didn't dissect the game from the Houston Texans point of view. I just know we won. I don't know how we did it. Somebody was out at halftime casting spells. Like, it's just, all right, game over. All right, mailbag. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they reading you? Mailbag. Mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Bask in it. Tactical Spork says, fun story. When I enlisted in the Army, I enlisted at an arena football game at halftime. At the Palace of Auburn Hills on my birthday. Oh, that's cool. Fun story. Was I in college at the time? I think it was right out of high school. I was in Atlanta. And I don't remember the name of the radio station. 97.5 maybe. With Greg Street and all them people, you would have to be in Atlanta to know who these people are. But they had a flag football game at I believe it was still called the Georgia Dome at the time. Celebrity guest coach was Jamal Anderson, former running back of the Atlanta Falcons. And I remember being so nervous that they put me in the game, and I lined up on the wrong side. I lined up on the wrong side. I mean, I was killing them in practice, but when I was like in the Georgia Dome. So, you know what I mean? 18-year-old kid in the Georgia Dome, So, yeah, it was cool, though. Joe Duke says, somehow I knew Texans would lose at halftime, LOL. So, to be honest with you, because of we were only down 15 at halftime, I was like, yeah, we can still win this game. I think that was probably the Texans' biggest mistake. They didn't put their foot on our throat, and they gave us the opportunity to believe that we could still win it. I mean, when you go in and you're only up 2 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns with an extra point. I mean, with a 2-point conversion. When you're only down by that much, or maybe it was 16, so 2 touchdowns, 2-point conversions, and we've turned the ball over at that time, I think 3 times by then. 3 or was it 4? I don't know. But you're not down much. So I was like, we probably could still win this game. All right, we got any mailbag questions? Go ahead, get them in. Taylor Made is not here today. He usually starts us off with the mailbag questions, but I know Tactical will come through with some. It's crazy. I thought they would have at least 2 practices. I didn't know it was going to be just 1. I think it's kind of counterproductive, right? Should have at least 2, and then you get your ones together out there, and they can do what they can do. It's like a scrimmage, right? And then you go ahead and you get the other ones over there. Detroit fan man, what up, though? He says, where's the official annual MCC 53-man roster prediction show? I don't know that it can be annual. Because this is the first year we're doing the show at this time. It's coming, man. I got to see what they're going to do in this preseason game. I got to see what Hendon Hooker does to see if he can keep himself on this roster, if he's going to designate himself for the practice squad, or if we're just going to outright cut him. I feel like if he goes out there and melts down and they have to pull him, he's gone. He's as good as gone. He's finito. All right. Tactical Sports says mailbag. When Project Martin is cut, what is it? Oh, okay. I guess that wasn't well formed. You get it back. So yeah, the 53-man roster prediction show. Do y'all really want me to do one of those? I don't think there's going to be too many surprises. I know I talked about surprise cuts yesterday. That was from Vito Chirco, Detroit Lions on SI, so shout out to him. They were all very surprising except for Hendon Hooker. You talked about Tim Patrick. You talked about Hendon Hooker. You talked about Craig Reynolds. There were 2 more. But they weren't surprising to me because I felt like only one of them, like they were ignorant takes. And the one that was most ignorant was just, I'm not saying it was ignorant. Okay. Ignorant is the wrong word. I just thought it was a bit hot takey. I understand you're going out on a limb, but nah. I just didn't think those guys were going to get cut. All right, mailbag. When Broderick is cut, who's going to be the low-hanging fruit to be cut? My pick is Hooker if he somehow makes the team. Colby Sorsdahl. But Colby is, I think, as good as gone because he's on injured reserve. He's not going to play this season at all. And I don't think that he's shown you anything at all that makes you bring him back. Who's going to be the low-hanging fruit? Barring any injuries, I don't think it's going to be Hendon Hooker. Because barring injury, Hendon Hooker is not going to have to see the field. If he gets out there and actually plays and then it comes to fruition that way and he looks just as bad as he's looked all preseason, I don't know. I feel like it could be. Okay, but it's going to depend on the injuries. That's all I'm saying. All right. We got any more mailbag questions? Going once, going twice, going thrice, going to China, getting a big bag of rice, put it in a skillet, cause old trice. Real name, no gimmicks. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm not a rapper. Hendon will be a protected practice squad player. That is right. You can protect. How many can you protect? But don't you have to protect them? Like, don't you have to protect them every week, and then you can only protect them for a certain amount of time, and then you either gotta, basically poop or get off the pot? For protected, okay. But don't each of those four have a certain amount of times that you can protect them, right? You can't like just protect them throughout the entire year. Am I right or wrong? I should know the practice squad rules, bro. It's a lot of rules to know, man. It's a lot of rules to know. And sometimes Google is your friend. I know you don't have to be Encyclopedia Jones all the time. I do be Encyclopedia Jones about some things, but not the practice squad rules. BM or MB? Who are your starting CBs come the season? Terrion and DJ Reed. And Amik is starting at the nickel. We don't have anybody else. We don't have anybody else that would be considered starting anything. The whole Ennis Rakestraw thing, and he's supposed to be pushing Terrion. Nah. Don't know on that one. He says, I don't think the emergency QB counts as protected. Can you keep him on the practice squad and still have him being the emergency QB, and then therefore he would be somewhat active on game days while still being on the practice squad? I don't know. That would be a fascinating loophole, but it obviously only works for the quarterback position. Yeah, I don't know. All righty. I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here, man. Got to get back to work on the grind in the rat race. Not rat lage. He doesn't have a rat face. I don't know, man. Y'all know what we do on this show, boy. We flow, boy. But before we flow, boy, we check in on your dough, boy. Shout out to Marcellus Wiley. The emergency quarterback must be on the 53-man roster and cannot be an elevated practice squad player. Okay, there you go. Here's a question for you guys before I go. If keeping Hendon Hooker meant Jackson Meeks has no roster spot on this team, would you be angry? Mailbag, what do you see as the Lions' solution for Davenport? It isn't going to be Big Z. That's it. That's all you got. It's not gonna be Trey Hendrickson. It's got to be Big Z or a surprise cut or a cut that's not a surprise, but it's a guy that can come in and be serviceable and be part of a rotation, I guess. So roster cut down day is a sad day for some, and it is a day of rejoice for others. Mr. Lupe Lions 17 says, do you think we draft the QB next draft? Bro, we need to. We need to, man. Because the Hendon Hooker experiment didn't work out at all. And the damn Cleveland Browns drafted like 15 quarterbacks, bro. So, like, we can get somebody from somewhere. And I know what it's going to do for the fans, but you just can't look at it that way, bro. We need a competent backup. You must have one. If your starter goes down, it's a wrap, and you don't have one. Mr. Morale 313 says, not really. Meeks before Hooker. Let this game show Martin versus Hooker for that final spot. Yes, I would be angry. I'd rather have Meeks than keep Hooker. Facts. Hooker is not who we thought he was. Now, if you want to crown him, what's this? Martin is PFF's fourth highest graded pass rusher in all camps. Who needs to start smoking odd weeds and clean up? Do they mean interior pass rusher? Because PFF is really they just sometimes they don't tell you what their thinking was, so they just do things. Just do things. 3 Ds and then Martin in the top 4. That's crazy. 3 Ds and Martin. All right. We're going to go ahead and bounce up out of here, man. I got to go ahead and get some Red Bull. You already know what it is. And get back to work. Got to hit these streets. These streets, we will not be here tomorrow, but you already know we will be here on Friday. I appreciate everyone for coming through, hanging out, stopping by for a drink and conversation. Shout out to the Joe Duke. Joe Duke, new subscriber, Houston, Texas fan. Pretty cool dude. Came in and chopped it up a bit. So, yes. You'll find it and throw it up on Discord later. Okay, appreciate you. I will check it out. Once again, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you stats and not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And we are out. We shall see y'all next time. Peace.